One of the big usability limitations on my DIY EV is not knowing how much battery power I've got left, especially since I've got a teeny tiny battery pack at the moment. Just about 8 kilowatt hours, enough for 25-28 kilometers with a gentle right foot. So now I've got my CANbus testbed working properly, I've been working on a solution to that. This is an ESP32 hooked up to a CANbus transceiver, which is pulling data from my CANbus test network. The cover's off because I've been updating the sketches on there to change and tweak some of the CANbus frames that it's sending across the network, and I had to be able to hit the reset button in order to make that work. Down here we've got a little display, and yes, the formatting's a bit off at the moment, but this is just a ST7755 display, I think. It's only 1.8 inch, it's a 128 by 160 resolution, and it's showing state of charge, it's showing temperature, and it's showing the max delta as well. Doesn't quite all fit on the screen, but we can do things about that. This is a spare BMW gauge cluster that I paid very little for because one of the tabs is broken. Bought it just for mucking around with before I scrapped the old one. And what you'll see is that the fuel gauge is gone, and in its place is my little screen in a 3D printed surround. It's not perfect, but actually it looks pretty decent. Certainly not bad for a first pass. I was going to 3D print something to mount it, but I just stuck some hot glue on just for testing purposes, and yeah, it's pretty solid. So I might not bother doing anything more sophisticated. This whole plastic surround, every time I put my hand in the frame, all the focus goes. This plastic frame and clips, you rotate these locks here, and this thing pulls out. So I should be able to take just this out and remove the in fact I can take this out and probably the gauges as well, and then drop the whole lot into the existing surround, which is much cleaner and less scratched and doesn't have a broken tab from the car I'm driving. So I can keep the back of it, which has got all the data and everything else in, keep all the same lamps and everything, but just swap the gauge cluster over, I hope, and then everything else stays the same and these bits change, including my new display. In order to route the cables, I think I've got enough height here for the DuPont pins to come off there, and then you can see on this end there's a little hole there, which probably should be enough space to get cables around the outside there, I think, and out that hole some sort of multi-way. This is what, 8 pins. I've only got 6-way multi-core, but I'll work something out, maybe 6 and then do 2 for power as well. 6 for data, 2 for power, although actually 3, the backlight needs basically permanent 3v3 as well. I don't know, I'll work something out that fits through that hole, and then my control electronics can be tucked away somewhere behind it. There it is in place. I've just taken the MV millivolts off the delta for now, until I work out some better design. But if I make the USB port accessible from the car, or add some OTA actually capabilities to the code, over the air capability, then I can update it in situ anyway. Now none of this will work because my BMS isn't kicking out CANbus at the moment. That's a spare one, that's not the one in the car. But I've got some help coming on that front next week, so I shall hopefully have that sorted, which will mean 2 of the big usability problems, having to plug in a laptop to charge and not knowing how much battery I've got left, might be solved by the end of next week, which would be awesome. That's it for this one, another quick video. I'll stick the code for the gauge. It's rubbish, because I wrote it. Well, I didn't. I cribbed it from lots of other places and copied and pasted it, which is how I code. But I'll stick that code up on my GitHub if anybody's remotely interested in it. You never know. Thanks for watching. If you like this stuff, please do like and subscribe. Bye bye.